Mm. So hi everybody, welcome. If your mat is not already set up horizontally like mine, take a moment to turn it and then lay down. And as you lay down, turn to your left so that your right arm is reaching towards your computer or TV or whatever you're looking at. And then just come to rest on the back and let yourself relax. Let yourself be supported. And just start to notice the breath flowing into and out of the body. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about today's class theme. And so as I talk about the class theme, see if you can just relax more and more deeply and continue to observe your breath. And so today we're going to be working to find smoothness through the whole sequence. And so that we're just as present in the transitions, just as present coming into and out of poses as we are in the moment of the pose. And so that it'll feel like one continuous stream of movement rather than stopping and starting. And we're going to have a little extra help with this theme. Yesterday was the Zen poet Paul Reps's birthday. He was a good friend of Babaji's, and he has so much wisdom to share. And so throughout class, I will be reading one of his little poems about working with movement and working with the breath. And so as you lie here, I'll read it for the first time, and then throughout class, I'll repeat it just so that we have that little extra support and reminder of how to connect with the breath and our movement. He says, "When moving, do not disturb the breath. Move with it. Smooth, even. When moving, do not disturb the breath. Move with it. Smooth, even." And so that will be our goal through class today. And let's just take a few more moments to observe our breath. And even though we're not moving yet, just notice the breath without changing it. And just notice any sense of spaciousness beyond the breath. This sense of observing and expanding beyond where our focus and attention is most of the day. And then we'll start to add in some movement in the way Reps tells us, without disturbing the breath. So you'll continue to observe the breath, let it change, without changing it with your will. If you're following along with our musical playlist, you can hit play on the first song, Elil by Hammock. And again, just make sure it's on repeat. Can you? And I'll tell you when to go to the next track. So just notice a couple more breaths. It's going to be different for everyone. And then very gently bend the knees, placing the soles of the feet wide on the mat. Take a moment to feel the soles of the feet resting on the mat. Notice the sensation of the knees above the feet. Maybe even the thigh bones rooting into the hip socket. Notice the sensation of the spine, parts of it supported by the earth, parts of it arcing away from the earth. Notice the rising and falling of the chest cavity. Notice the space around the neck and the shoulders, front of the shoulders, the back of the shoulders. Give yourself permission at any point to wiggle and adjust if you notice something that doesn't feel supported or doesn't feel like it can relax. Notice the skull, the sensation around the crown of the head, the forehead. Try to let the forehead relax and soften. And we just did a body scan. See if you can hold your whole body in your awareness, not just one part, but just your body as one perfect unit, just observing the whole. And ever so gently start to let the weight in the feet shift towards the left. And so the knees gently drop towards the left. And then let the weight in the feet shift towards the right, and the knees ever so gently shift to the right. These movements can be so tiny, moving just an inch at a time, or you can make bigger movements if you can do so smoothly and consciously. And as you allow the knees to gently windshield wiper, continue to observe your breath, your natural breath. The breath is going to be number one today, and maybe that's the only thing that you can observe, and that's fine. If you feel like you can juggle observing the breath and also observing the body moving through space, try that. The shifting weight in the feet connects up to the knees, up to the hips, up into the low back. Maybe you even notice the side bodies gently engaging to support this subtle twist. Maybe you can even feel the twist all the way into the ribs, sides of the ribs, the back of the ribs, all the way up into the shoulders. Just give yourself the opportunity to notice the connections from the feet all the way up into the armpits. And the next time the knees point upward, allow yourself to come to stillness for a moment, just observing breath now. With that same gentle, effortless way of moving, Start to allow the right foot to lift, and then reach towards the right foot for a gentle crunch. And then release back down. And take a few movements like this, and instead of thinking of this like a crunch, think of yourself like a flower, gently opening and closing. The flower doesn't exert effort, it just allows itself to open. The next time you crunch up towards the leg, very slowly control your way down, so you just notice a sense of effort in the body, but in a very sweet and relaxed way. And then extend the left leg, reach the arms overhead, and start to draw some gentle circles with the right knee. As the right knee circles, you might notice sensation in the right hip socket, in the low back. And bring a little extra energy to the rest of the body. So reach through the left foot, reach through the arm. So there's a sense of stability in the body as the right leg starts to explore. Maybe it's really just the thigh bone rotating in the hip socket. Give yourself permission to have the knee pull your body slightly to one side and then the other, if that feels good. We're going to come back to this movement over and over again, so it's fine if you want to keep your pelvis anchored and just explore the hip socket. And then just in case we're circling different ways, take a moment to pause. And when we come back to this each time, we'll circle the knee across the body. So it'll go to the twist first, then it'll start to point away from us and down, and then open off to the right side for a hip opener. So just take a few circles like that. From center, first we cross. It's okay to let the right hip lift a little if the body enjoys that. And then circle the knee down and wide, moving so slowly that there's not a sense of a beginning or an end, right? This whole thing is the movement. The next time the knee starts to cross the body, let the knee start to pull on you so you roll onto your left side, pointed away from me. Plant your right hand in front of you for a moment so you feel nice and stable. Let the head rest on the bicep. Just pause, taking in the body in this new position. And then gently graze the right fingertips on the floor ahead of you, pointing down towards the knee, down towards the bottom of the mat, and then gently behind you. Notice how the arm naturally pulls the chest open slightly and then reach overhead. And do a few circles like this. If the shoulder feels sensitive, place the hand on the shoulder. So this is really more about rotating through the chest rather than putting too much work into the shoulder. So the elbow or arm points forward, down, and then back to open the chest. The next time the arm circles behind you, let the arm start to pull on the core, slowly returning you onto your back body. Extend the right leg, reach arms down towards the heels, letting the hands relax, and just pause back at the beginning. But notice the right side of your body. Notice any sense of subtle opening, subtle spaciousness in the joints or the energy channels. Observe the breath without changing it. And then we'll do the same thing on the second side. So begin with that flower. We'll call it flower crunch. Reaching towards the foot, allowing the knee to pull into the chest any amount, and then gently releasing hands and feet apart just a little or a lot, right? Not forcing it. Take a few pulses like that, and notice if anything locks up in the hips or in the neck because you're straining. Don't come so high up. Let this be just as natural as a flower opening when it's in the right conditions. The next time the arms reach overhead, start to draw circles with the knee. Let the left knee cross to the right side of the body, and then up towards down and away, and then open to the left side, up into the chest, and then across the body. And move as slowly as you need to feel completely present with all the sensation in the body, in the thigh bone, in the hip socket. Maybe this side feels different than the right side. The next time the knee crosses over to the right, allow the knee to reach and pull the hip. Notice how the hip starts to pull the rib, starts to pull the left shoulder, and we all end up on our right side. Head rests on the right bicep, left hand in front of you, just taking a moment to feel supported and relaxed. And then we add in our arm circle with the left arm this time. So the left arm grazes the floor, reaching towards the foot, and then opens back. And notice how the arm pulls on the shoulder, and then the ribs allow the body to open. Take a few circles here. Give yourself permission at any time to place the hand on the shoulder. Try to observe the breath and the smoothness of your movements. And if it doesn't feel smooth, make a smaller circle. Move a little slower till you find that smoothness. The next time the elbow circles down and behind you, let that very slowly pull you onto your back. Extend the left leg, reach hands down, and just pause. Observe the next couple of breaths. That was our sensory experience to get us really feeling. We'll repeat that same thing a little bit faster and build into the rest of our sequence. So, flower bud hug, pull the right knee in and gently reach towards the foot. Reach arms overhead and let the leg extend slightly. Go right into one full circle with the right knee. So crosses the body, reaches away, and then opens. And then as the knee starts to circle the second time, let it pull you onto the left side of the body. And notice how that momentum just naturally allows the right arm to start to reach forward and down, right into that arm circle. Take one full arm circle. And then the next time the hand is in front of you, plant the hand in front of your face. Slowly start to push into the hand, pushing yourself up. Plant the left hand beneath you, and then walk both hands over to the left so they're both on your mat, almost like you're going to do a push-up. Tuck the left toes and slowly start to lift the left leg and hip away from the floor. And then let's practice that again. So let the left side of the body sink down and let your whole body slow motion face plant. And then ever so gently press into the hands. Allow the chest to gently lift. Tuck the back toes. Allow the back leg to gently lift. And now put a little extra force into the hands so that you can hover the right knee. Look at the right knee, and just like that flower bud hug, crunch, gently draw knee to chest, but don't force anything. And then place the right knee down wherever it naturally falls, and just as gently push down into the right hand, let the left heel swivel, and slowly start to stack left shoulder and left hand for a supported side plank. And it should feel really effortless. And let's try that again. Release the hand down and notice how lifting the back heel allows you to support your body with the ball of the back foot. That's going to be important later when we build on this. So back to that ever so gentle crunch. Push into the hands to support the core and the leg. And then release, knee down, back heel swivels. Push down to gently stack, opening. Bring your awareness to the bottom arm and bend the elbow a little bit. Okay, it's not so important here, but as we add more weight to the bottom arm, we want to make sure that all the sensation is in the back of the shoulder. So as you bend the elbow, see if there's a sense of the shoulder sliding down and wide. And so there's no tension in that right side of the neck or the top of the right shoulder. Then release the left hand down, push down into the hands to lift the knee. Last crunch, I promise. And then drop the right knee and slowly start to let the hips press back off of the mat so that you can open really easily into a straddle. Nice. And now that you're observing, I'll demo that just so you can see if it didn't feel smooth, maybe a way to make it a little smoother. And so the hips just press back wherever the legs are is perfect, and then you can adjust gently. Start to reach forward and circle the arms to the left leg. And then place the left hand behind you. And just like we practiced with the right arm, putting a little extra weight on the outside of the hand, try it with the left hand. Bend the left elbow a little bit, bring some weight into the hand, and just notice a sense of support underneath the shoulder. So there's no tension in the left shoulder and the left side of the neck. We'll be bringing weight there later, so we're just getting ready for that. Plant the hands back into your plank. Let the right knee hover. And then drop the right knee and walk your hands over to the left, letting the right knee turn and letting the left toes turn, setting up for a modified Parigasana. So the left knee's bent, the left toes turn out slightly, and then just to test where your foot is, glide your hips from side to side, and it should feel really fluid. If it feels like you want a little more action, walk the foot out and then you'll have more room to slide. If it feels like stuck, like you can barely move, walk the foot in and it should feel a little more glidey. Once you find that sweet spot, push down into left foot and right knee to ever so gently stack the spine. Left hand to thigh. Sweep the right arm up and let the heart open a little bit. So gentle back bend opening front of the right hip. And then release over to the left and draw a couple of big circles with the right arm, letting it lift you and open you and then allowing it to stretch the side body. And as you circle with the whole torso, notice the weight shifting in the feet. It's okay if it's more over the knee at one point and then if it shifts over the left foot, just notice and make sure that the hips feel okay with the size of your circle. If you go too far, the hip might say like, whoa, this is too intense, and then you don't do it. Next time you reach up, pause there, observe the breath. And then observe me, because we have a fun transition coming up. Bring the left knee in. Bring your right hand to your side. Watch me one time. We're going to play with rolling to the left and then rolling back onto our knees. And so we'll just take a few opportunities to allow that to get smoother. So the knees come together, right hand off to the side, and then the right hip falls. Allow that momentum to carry the knees to the other side and then go back the way you came. Feel free to observe me a few times until it makes sense, but we're just getting a nice little massage across the back of the hips. There is a little support in the hands. Yeah, and now I'm going to observe you to make sure everyone's figuring it out. Yeah, good. Jessie figured it out, and now she's just flying across her yoga mat. So the next time you roll to the right, we're going to add on. So from kneeling, allow the left foot to step off to the side. Okay, so this is where we're going. Now I'm going to demo this again. We're going to take that roll right into that. So we'll roll to the left, roll to the right, and then just let the momentum allow the left leg to step out. If, Roseanne, I saw your face. If that's not happening for you, that's okay. Just play with the roll. And then from kneeling, step the foot off to the side. So if you're not into the momentum thing, that's totally cool. Just take it at your own pace. Nice. Yeah, and you can keep that right hand down so that it feels really smooth and supported, right? Because we're finding smoothness in our poses today. Nice, Lily. So next time you find your way to the left leg being extended, let's all pause there. And so before, we had our hip open for Parigasana. But naturally, from this transition, the hips are going to be more closed. So let that happen, right? Don't feel like, oh, I'm supposed to be back to where I came from. We're doing something different now. If your hips are open, hug the inner thighs together and actually let the right hip start to point over to the left. So there's more of a sense of security in the thighs. And then push down into the feet to let the front of the body start to open and just scoop the air up, letting the spine extend. And then gently bow, melt over the left leg, and ever so gently kick into the left heel, letting the backside of the body extend, but not forcing anything. And we're going to play between those two movements. So gently bend into the front knee, push down to slowly open through the front of the body, and then melt the spine over the leg, kick gently into the heel to extend through the back of the body. And take a few more at your own pace, but move a little slower than you might be used to so you can feel every moment of the movement. Paul Reps says, smooth motion cures commotion. So the more you smooth this out, notice if the mind becomes a little calmer, a little more present. The next time you bow forward, plant the right hand, tuck the right toes so you can inch the right knee over with support, and then bring the left leg to meet the right knee. Slowly let the hips drop over to the right, and then the left hip comes down so you're on your back. Lots of rolling. Yeah, you guys got it. See, after you did the first one, this one wasn't so scary. And then just inch back onto your mat and slowly extend the body, reclining. You made it. You made it through our interesting transitions that are just going to get smoother as we give ourselves permission to think less and feel more. I'll do that same sequence on the second side. And so bend the left knee, start to reach up towards the left foot, flower bud, crunch or Apanasana, and then release down, arms overhead, big circle with the left knee, letting it cross first, then point away, then open. And then the second time it crosses, allow it to pull you onto your right side and allow the left arm to gently circle forward, down and back. The next time it reaches forward, plant the hand in front of your face, gently push down into the hand so you can plant the right hand, walk the hands over, thinking like plank hands, tuck the back toes, energize the back leg, lifting the hip and the knee, and then let everything melt down just so we get to practice that work one more time. Push into the hands, allow the shoulders to go wide away from the neck, and then gently lift the hip. This time, left knee lifts, gentle crunch. If that's too much, you can drop the right knee at any time. And then from that crunch, drop the left knee, push down into the left shin, let the right heel swivel back, and really pay attention to that so you allow it when we get into the more challenging form of this. Right hand stacks, and then we repeat that. So right hand down, slow motion, left knee lifts, plank crunch. Slowly release the left knee down, push down into the left hand, bend that left elbow, let the shoulder draw down and away. No tension in the neck. If you're not sure if there's tension in the neck, look up and down a couple times, which is hard for your balance, so it's okay if you shake a little. But it should feel smooth and easy for the neck to turn. And if it doesn't, push down into the knee so the hand hovers completely. And then ever so gently, just bring the outside of the hand down, making sure there's no tension there. Let's take one more plank crunch. Drop the knee, lift the right hand, and now gently press into the hand, let the right toes lift, push the hips back into our modified Jana Shirshasana. Nice! It's easier on the second time, huh? Reach the arms forward and then gently circle them over to the right, and then plant the right hand behind you, off to the right hand side. Bend the right elbow and just lean back so you feel a sense of weight in that right arm. And a little springiness in the elbow. You can even bend the elbow and push away a couple of times, just making sure nothing's locking up in the right arm. And then we'll go back to where we came from. Walk the hands back to the plank. Hover the knee one last time. And then drop the knee. Walk the hands to the right. Let the toes point behind you. Right knee turns out. Push down to actually take a moment to find your gliding Parigasana legs, right? So give yourself permission to walk foot in or out. Check in with the knee. Make any adjustments to the foot so the knee feels supported. And then when you're ready, push down into foot and grounded knee to gently stack the spine. Right hand to thigh. Reach the left arm up. Let the heart open just a little bit. And then reach over to the right, gently forward, and then repeat. Pushing down into the knee to stack the spine, lifting the heart, reach, draw a big circle to the right, and then allow the hips to move with you. So there's a sense of buoyancy and support in the pelvis. The spine and the pelvis are connected, right? So as the spine moves, allow the base of the spine to move with it. Allow the pelvic bowl to start to rotate. Next time you reach up, pause there. And we've got our rolling, but this time we're going to be rolling to the left. So right leg hugs in, left hand plants off to the side, hips left hip down, and then knees point up to the sky, and you're away from me. Roll over to the right, and then come back the way you came. And take a few rolls from table to the right, and then to the left back to table. And the hips stay down as long as that's comfortable. This should not feel like a lot of exertion. So I'm going to turn this way just in case this helps you figure out the movement. So from table, the hips lower, and then you roll. Okay, so next time you roll to the left into table, let the right foot step out, and then go back to where you came from. And if you don't enjoy the momentum, it's totally fine to pause and then consciously step the right foot out. But if you're enjoying the momentum as you roll to the left, let the right leg just naturally swing out and trust that your body's going to support you. Nice. So we'll all meet with our right leg out, and we'll take a moment to just square our hips to the right, hugging inner thighs together so you're pointed at an angle. So if you're OCD, hopefully you can let that go and be okay with it. Push down into the feet to gently open through the front of the body, and then melt forward, hands down. Kick into the heel, opening through the back of the body. Bend knee, push into the foot, gently stack everything, reach up, let the front of the body open, and then melt everything down. And take a couple more on your own. See if you can observe your breath as you move, not changing it. Don't worry about it syncing up with anything. Just observe. Your body knows how to breathe. And the next time you release forward, walk the left hand over to the, actually keep the left hand in the middle of the mat. Walk the left knee over. And then slowly start to let the left hip come towards the mat. Let the right knee lift so the knees squeeze together. Left hip down, back of the hips down, and then right hip down. So that same rolling scenario. Yeah, good, Christy, you got it. Yay. And then scoot onto the mat. Before you lay down, if you're following along with the playlist, go to the next track. Black Sands by Bonobo, and then you can come onto your back and observe your breath. And maybe the breath has changed because we've been rolling around and doing stuff, and the breath is going to naturally change because our bodies are so cosmically intelligent, and it's our work to just notice and allow that to happen. I'm going to read that same quote from Paul Reps. When moving, do not disturb the breath. Move with it. Smooth, even. And so we'll go through that same sequence and we'll be adding things on. Maybe the familiar parts, it's a little easier to move without disturbing the breath and to observe it as you move. Let's try it. Option to keep the leg extended or bend the knee. Apanasana, flower bud crunch. And then reach arms overhead, and the leg can be as extended or as bent as is comfortable. And take a few circles and give yourself permission to allow the leg to extend, but don't force it. Nice. And the next time the leg crosses over the body, allow it to pull you onto the left side and make one full circle with the right arm. And then plant the right hand in front of you. Push down into right hand, push down into left hand. Walk the hands onto the mat. Tuck left toes. Plank. The leg might be extended or the knee bent underneath you, depending on how extended the leg was. Regardless, bend the knee, push into the hands, plank crunch. We're going to take this first round just like we did before, and then we'll have the option to add on. Let the back heel swivel, push down to gently stack the body, and then press the hips back into your straddle and circle the arms over to the left. Plant the left hand behind you and push down into the left hand to open the body. And so you have the option to repeat it that way again and again. Otherwise, we'll take it a little deeper if you feel up for it. Return slowly to your plank crunch. Instead of supported side plank, cross the right leg underneath the body, bringing the pinky toe side of your foot off of the mat. And then let the left heel swivel just like before. Now push down into both feet and the bottom hand to open off to the side, and then slowly let the hips melt down to the mat. So you're in a straddle. The knee's not bent anymore if you did the starfish version. Reach the hands forward, big circle, plant the left hand behind you, and then option to lift the hips any amount that feels comfortable. Hips down, circle back the way you came, we'll all meet in our plank crunch, and then you've got your options, right? Either the knee drops, supported side plank, or the foot reaches out and you slowly and supportedly open up to starfish plank. Either way, drop the hips, draw a big circle to the left, plant the left hand over to the left, and just gently lift the hips any amount. And then hips down, slowly circle back to where you came from. Plant the hands, let the back heel lift. Plank crunch. And now drop the right knee, walk the hands over to the left, let the left toes turn. Back to something familiar, Parigasana. Push down into the foot and the knee to gently come up into our little back bend. Option to have both hands lifted this time. And then bend the left knee, let your body gently melt over to the left and just draw a couple of big circles. You're welcome to open the front of the body as much as feels comfortable. And the next time you lift up, bring the left knee in, right hips off to the side, roll over the hips, and then roll back to the right. Allow the leg to step out, either with momentum or, nice. And then this time, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, keep the back heel lifted, and hug inner thighs together to slowly come up into a high lunge. And take a moment to adjust the feet so they feel nice and wide, like you're on railroad tracks, so you feel really supported. Scoop the air up, let the front of the body open, and then shift the weight into the front foot and ever so gently start to drag the back foot forward. So it really engages the front of the body, that resistance of the mat. Let the foot start to hover and gently bow forward towards the foot. Open your arms wide and then point the toes off to the right and then slowly behind you, sneaking your way in to Virabhadrasana 3. And then drop the toes behind you back to the beginning of the sequence. Push down into the feet, let the front of the body open. Shift the weight forward, keep the back toes down, but drag the leg forward. Padangusthasana, reach forward, and then open the arms and open the foot off to the side at the same time, sneaking your way in to Virabhadrasana 3. Bend the left knee a little bit, and whenever you're ready, plant the toes back down. And we'll do this one more time and see if you can make it a little smoother, right? Push into the feet, let the body open, shift the weight into the left foot, find your gaze point, drag the right leg forward and gently close the front of the body as you reach towards the foot, and then open everything. Let the right foot circle behind you, Virabhadrasana 3, and then set the toes down. Let me demo this next thing. Right heel in, right toes out, so you can watch me in goddess pose. If your legs need a rest, the legs can be straight and you can just chill. Or if you want to explore goddess, you're welcome to. So when we did this on the first side, or the first round, we dropped the knee, and then the knees hugged together, and we just gently rolled. So we're on our back, ready to do the other side. So that's a great transition. Drop the knee, foot back, and then just gently roll. If you want to try another transition, from that same position, the back knee stays lifted. It looks harder than it is. You hop the front foot over the back foot and sit down. There is a sense of this left leg controlling your way down, so it's not intense on the right arm. So as the foot hops, I'm pushing into the foot, controlling my hips as they lower, right? So it doesn't just feel like I flop on the ground. Nice, Amisha, you got it. If that doesn't feel like it's serving your body, the other transition has so many benefits too. So you can pick. From goddess pose, lift the right heel, turn the right toes in, plant the right hand nice and wide. Option to lower the back knee, take the first transition, or extend the right leg, bring a little extra weight into the right hand. Bend the left knee a couple times so there's a sense of springing through the left leg. And the next time the leg extends, let the foot hop over the right leg and slow. Yes! Nice! Wow, you guys are adventuresome. Way to go. And then scooch back on your mat. And because the knee is bent, just give your knee a hug and let that control your descent back onto the mat. And then give your hip flexor a break and reach that left leg out. Let the hands rest and just pause. That was our sequence. So on the second side, you always have the benefit of like knowing, okay, here's what's about to happen, and it's going to be awesome, and my body is awesome, because it is. So let's try. Allow the left leg to lift. Reach towards the left foot. Knee can bend any amount. Flower bud crunch. And then arms reach overhead. Left leg crosses the body. Draw your circle away from you and wide, and really let the knee bend as it needs to. Next time the leg crosses, roll onto the side. Big circle with the left arm, forward, down, back. And then plant the left hand, push into it, plant the right hand, tuck right toes. Drag left knee underneath you, plank crunch. And then set the left knee down, push down to slowly open the body, supported side plank. And then gently press the hips back. Jana Shirshasana, reach the arms forward, over to the right. Plant the right hand behind you and just play with lifting the hips an inch. And then slowly reverse your circle, going back to where you came from. And now you have the option to add on or repeat it that exact same way. So plank crunch, option to reach the left leg across the body. It's okay for it to stay bent. Push down into the left hand, let the right heel swivel, reach the right hand up, starfish plank. Option to allow the legs to start to open a little bit more as you release down, if that feels good. And then circle the arms slowly over to the right. Plant the right hand far behind you so you can push down and lift the hips any amount. And then release the hips down, reverse your circle. Plant the hands like plank over to the left. Let the right toes swivel. Lift left knee, plank crunch. One more on your own and honor your body. If that felt like too much, don't do the harder version, right? If your body's saying this is too much, listen. Both versions are extremely beneficial, and your goal is to honor your body's wisdom. Beautiful, everybody. We'll all meet in that plank crunch, and then drop the left knee, slowly walk the hands over to the right, bend the right knee, let the right toes turn out. Slowly rise up, Parigasana with a little back bend, and then bend the right knee, melting towards the right, circling forward, and then pushing down to rise up through center. Bend the knee, circle. Next time you rise up, pause. Bring the right leg in, left hand off to the side. Let yourself bring left hip down, and then circle away from me, right hip down. And then go back the way you came from and let the right leg step out into your lunge. Let the back knee lift. And if you're like, how did you get there? No worries. Just step the right leg out, lift the back knee. Hug inner thighs together. Let the back heel lift. If you want a little extra grip, it's fine to step the foot onto the mat. But just make sure right and left feet are nice and wide, like railroad tracks. Scoop the air up, lengthening through the front of the body. Then find a drishti, a steady gaze point. Shift the weight into the right foot. Keep the left toes down as you drag them forward, and then bow towards the left leg. Then I'm going to turn so you can see this a little bit better. Open the arms and the foot at the same time. sneaking your way into Virabhadrasana 3. I want to call that like nutcracker pose because I feel like such a ballerina when I do it. And then set the toes down behind you. Bend the front knee, scoop the air up, high lunge. And then let's repeat. Drag the foot forward, Utthita Padangusthasana, and then our nutcracker transition into Virabhadrasana 3. Bend the right knee a little bit so there's no tension. And then set the toes down. Let's repeat that one last time. Scoop the air up. Drag the foot forward. Utthita Padangusthasana, bow. And then open the foot and the hands delicately off to the side. Not forcing your flexibility. It doesn't have to be deep. Virabhadrasana 3. And then step the foot out, bend both knees. Take a moment in Goddess so I can demo that transition on the second side. So you'll drop the left hand, you'll twist away from me. You'll either drop the knee, bring the other knee back and roll, or you'll hop the right foot over and control your way down. You can do it. So when you're ready, turn to the right, let the left heel lift, left hand down, and then take your option. If you're hopping, I'll talk you through it. Bounce the right knee a couple of times so you feel a springiness in the leg and the hips. The next time the right leg extends, jump the right foot over the left and then slowly release the hips down. Nice, you guys all beat me to it, so that's great. Scoot your hips back onto your mat, hug your right knee in, and slowly control your way down. And then extend the right leg forward, reach the arms forward, and just pause. And again, observe your breath. Again, my breath has changed. There were some aerobic movements in that last sequence, and so maybe your body needs to adjust the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Let it do that. Then observe. So we'll go through that sequence one last time. And there's only one new pose. And so the goal in this last round is to be in that observational space of letting the breath flow, letting the movement flow, and moving really smoothly. And Paul Reps will tell us how to do that. I will read our quote again. When moving, do not disturb the breath. Move with it. Smooth, even. And if you're following the music, you can go to the next track, Stargazer by Soul Rising. And you guys are smart. Many of you are yoga teachers. If you know the sequence, just do whatever you want. And you can be ahead of me, you can be behind me, you can repeat stuff. You can add stuff in. This is your time to shine. But of course, I will cue you, I will guide you as much as you need it or want it. From Shavasana, lift the right leg, reach towards it. Let the hands reach overhead, right leg crosses the body. Make one big circle with the leg. And then let the leg pull you onto your left side. Slowly circle the right arm. Do not disturb the breath, but move with it. Press right hand down, press left hand down, tuck left toes. Walk the hands onto the mat, plank crunch. And then either supported plank or starfish. Slowly swiveling the back heel and using everything touching the earth to support the body lifting up. And then gently let the legs, let the straddle open as the hips release down. Nice. Big circle to the left. Plant the left hand and feel the support As you lift the hips any amount, no tension. Hips melt down. Circle back to where you came from. And take one more of those on your own. And we've done a lot, so maybe you want to go back to the more supported version because the arm is tired. That's perfect. Nice. And we'll all meet in our plank crunch. Drop the right knee. Walk the hands to the left. Left toes turn out, push down. Give yourself permission to open a little more as long as it feels okay. And then bend the left knee. Allow that to help you circle to the left. We'll all meet back at center. Left leg draws in. Slowly roll to the left. And then roll to the right and let the left foot step out. Trust it. Turn the hips, hug inner thighs together, reach the arms up. And I'm going to demo something here before you move. So you're going to take that same sequence, and then if you want to fly a little bit, place the hands down and just take a hop. Totally optional, otherwise we'll all meet right here. So you can go right into the high lunge from Virabhadrasana 3, or if you're feeling it, just add that hop in there and I'll cue you. So widen the feet, push down to gently open the front of the body. Drag the right leg forward, bowing, Utthita Padangusthasana. Nutcracker, open. Let the right leg circle behind you. Let the back of the hip lift the leg. Option to plant the hands down, bend the left knee, and hop. And then place left foot down, right foot down. Push down to rise up into high Anjaneyasana. And let's have an option here. You can either repeat that sequence one full time again. You could take another hop if that's fun. If you want something more grounding, spin the right heel down. Take a few breaths in Virabhadrasana 2 and just lengthen the left side of the body. Take a couple of pulses. If that hop felt really good, feel free to travel to the wall and explore one more hop like that at the wall where you're not afraid. Whoa, Padma, that was amazing. Yeah, you might be surprised. Way to go, Roseanne. No rushing, but once you've had your exploration, we'll all meet in Virabhadrasana 2. Nice, Octavia, so graceful. Yeah, Satyam, that's the best handstand I've ever seen you do in your life, and I'm married to you, so cool. All right. That's a good place to finish. So beautiful Virabhadrasana 2s, everyone. We'll spin the right heel up, plant the right hand, and option to hop the left leg over. Yes, Amisha, you nailed it. Nice, Lily. Scoot your hips back onto the mat. Option to hold the left knee or just come into Shavasana however you want, because at this point, the rules are your own. Observe the breath and observe your mind. You know, I get excited when I see you guys doing amazing things with your body. So just notice what comes up for you based on like feeling successful or challenged, and then just let it go. Whatever you did was absolutely perfect. And just observe your breath. Last round. Just love every second of it. And if you're not loving it, do something different. Reach the left leg up. Lift the body towards the leg. Recline the torso. Cross left leg over the body. One big, smooth circle, exploring that hip socket. And then let the left leg cross over, pull you over. Left arm circles. And then left arm plants, push into the left hand, push into the right hand, tuck the right toes, push up, plank crunch. Choose starfish plank or supported plank, but move slowly and with support into your hip opener. Big circle to the right. Plant the hand, lift off, and then go back the way you came. And just take one more. And if you don't want to take one more, because last time no one wanted to do it, feel free to stay in the hip opener. I should have actually cued that because that would have been great sequencing. So yeah, just enjoy that nice hip opener, or do one more of the sequence if you liked that. Nice, Lily. And because this is our last round, we're going to take a little extra time in the hip opener. So if you're still playing, don't worry about it. I want you to keep playing, and then we'll all meet in our hip opener. If one leg is folded in, just for symmetry, extend that leg out for Upavista Konasana. And bring your awareness to your hip socket. Sometimes we overdo it, right? So if you're feeling your hip sockets talking to you a little bit, just close the angle of the legs. And then walk the hands forward any amount. And we move a lot, so maybe you just want to be still and observe the breath, or just ever so gently walk the hands from side to side so that nothing locks up. Sometimes when we hold still, it's easier to be in a position that's harmful to us without realizing it. So the movement keeps you honest. Make sure you can breathe without telling yourself to breathe. Okay, and now I have to remember what was going on before this. I know, I got it. Pull the left heel in, plant the hands over to the left, tuck the right toes behind you, plank crunch, and then drop the left knee, walk the hands over to the right, let the right toes turn out, push down to slowly rise up, opening the front of the body, letting the heart lift, and then bend the right knee, let the body melt to the right, circle forward, and one more on your own through center. And the next time you lift up through center, hug the right leg in, left hand off to the side, roll to the right, and then roll to the left, let the foot step out, push down to slowly rise up, and then hug inner thighs together, back heel swivels so you're pointed off to the right corner of the mat. Slowly first lift the body, opening, and then drag the left foot forward gently, lifting leg and bowing at the same time, just like we did on our back. And then open, nutcracker transition slowly into Virabhadrasana 3. Option to take your hop here. And then eventually we meet in high lunge. And then we have many options. Either go right into Vira 2 and let yourself explore the stability and support of your feet and your hips. Repeat that whole sequence and take another hop. Make your way to a wall if you'd feel more comfortable playing with the hop at the wall because your arms, your core, your legs are really ready. Sort of getting crazy in the Konalana living room. Nice. And take your time. We will all eventually meet in Virabhadrasana 2. If you're already there, explore it. If you're not there, don't rush. Just enjoy having a body. Nice, Roseanne. Nice, Octavia. Beautiful, Christy. From Virabhadrasana 2, let the left heel spin up, left hand down, and then either drop the knee or hop the right leg over, and just see if you can have a little more hang time. Yeah, and then scooch back onto the mat and recline. Observe the breath and notice if it's easier to observe the breath than it was at the beginning. And we are going to have some cool down movements. I recommend either stopping the music or going back to the first song, Elil. And then we'll all meet on our back and observe a few more breaths before we move, just letting all of that juiciness sink in. I watched every single one of you and you just all moved with such smoothness and grace. And so notice the effects of that on your body, on your mind, on your heart. And gently reach arms overhead. You can always just take Shavasana, but these next movements should feel really nice. Bend the left knee. Gently press into the left foot, rolling onto the right side facing me. And actually bend both knees so they're at about a 45-degree angle or a little wider. Support yourself with the left hand in front of you so it doesn't feel hard to be here. And then gently start to lift just your left knee and try to keep your pelvis where it is so only your thigh bone is rotating. It's okay if the leg doesn't lift very high. And then set the knee down. And then do that one more time, but keep the knee lifted the second time. And gently start to extend the left leg and slowly lift it up, any amount. And the knee can be bent. When I say extend, it's like just see how much the leg wants to straighten. And then reach the left hand for either the thigh, the calf, the big toe without forcing anything. And then play there for a moment. Notice if it feels good to kick into the hand. Not intensely, we're just cooling down, but just allowing that leg to be full of energy. You can gently guide it towards the body without forcing anything. And then slowly allow the leg to lower. Again, place the left hand in front of you for support. Point the left toes at I don't know, the side wall of where you are. And then bend the left knee. Reach back and just notice if the toes or ankle are close. If they're not, don't force it. But if it feels good, just gently kick the foot into the hand, letting the left side of the body open. And then release the foot. Again, support yourself. Bend the knees a little extra. And then just like we've done so many times, push into the left hand, push into the right hand. Don't worry, no plank crunch this time. Just gently push into the hands to come up to seated. Extend the legs. Bend the knees and just gently melt forward for a moment. And then push into the heels, allow the legs to extend, allow the spine to stack. We'll do that same sequence on the other side. So swing the legs over to the right. Roll gently to the left side of the body. Let the left knees, or all knees bend. Extend the left arm and rest. Pause here. And then slowly start to lift the right knee. Keep the feet together Just exploring the rotation in the hip socket, and then set the knee down. And then do that one more time. And then extend the leg from there and just gently let it lift any amount. Grab onto the back of the thigh, calf, big toe. And if you're grabbing the big toe, feel free to bend the knee a lot. You can bend and extend a couple times. You can gently kick the leg into your hand. Just letting yourself explore the muscles of the legs. You've done a lot of work. And just play for a moment. Feeling, letting your awareness massage your leg. And then slowly lower the leg down, point the toes, and then softly bend the knee and reach towards the foot. If you have to lift the knee a lot to grab the foot, it might not be super comfortable. So just tune in whether it's serving you. And if it is, you can gently kick foot into hand to open through the front of the right side of the chest. Observe the breath. And then release the foot, let it extend. Plant the right hand in front of you. And gently press yourself back up. Extend the legs in front of you. Last movement before meditation. So we'll take a little extra time here than we did before. Let the feet be nice and wide. Place the hands to either side of the body. Bend the knees. And just gently traction the heels towards the body. And see if I can help you lift and sit up nice and tall. And then let the knees open and fall off to the side. Gently release the body forward. Hands can come with you. And then kick into the legs, knees point up, body rolls up. And then we repeat it again. So traction heels, let the knees fall to the side, and then release forward. The hips slightly externally rotated. You're welcome to stay there or kick into the legs and repeat that a couple of times, just massaging through the hip sockets and the low back, the whole posterior chain. And if it doesn't feel smooth, then just don't go as far, move a little slower. Then feel free to pause at any time. And then we'll eventually all meet in seated. You can pause your music. We won't be seated very long, but feel free to grab a pillow or a blanket if it would be more comfortable. Feel free to also grab a sip of water. And let's use that same beautiful Paul Reps poem to guide us into meditation. And I'm going to omit the first line, which is when moving, right? Because we're not moving anymore. But the poem still works. Do not disturb the breath. Move with it, smooth, even. And we've worked with this for the past hour and 20 minutes. So notice your relationship with your breath right now after all of that work. Notice if you can relinquish control and just observe the natural flow. Without straining, notice how it feels to slow the breath down very subtly. It's still natural, it's still free, it's just a little slower so that we can feel it more. And notice the pauses between the breath after each inhale and after each exhale. You don't have to change anything or do anything. Just observe. Inhale, pause. Exhale, pause. Notice any sense of spaciousness, calmness, clarity that occurs especially during those pauses. And if you feel that sense of everything stopping, as the breath stops, the mind stops, see if you can keep a sense of continuity as the breath comes back in. You feel that stillness, that wholeness. And you continue to identify it even when the movement of the breath returns. If there's any sense of doership, having to work to slow down the breath, see if you can release that and just rest in this state of observation as the breath continues on its own. You're welcome to stay upright, meditating for as long as you'd like. You're also welcome to release into Shavasana. And I'll just read that quote one last time. Do not disturb the breath. Move with it. Smooth, even. You have several more minutes to meditate or relax in Shavasana. Observe your next few breaths as if you were outside of your body. And keep that perspective as you gently begin to move and wake up. And see if you can be aware of your breath and your physical body and this sense of being connected to something even vaster beyond it. Take your time finding your way up to seated, moving just as smoothly and consciously as you did through class. We'll all meet with hands at heart center, continuing to observe the breath, letting it be free so that we may be free. Thank you all for sharing this practice. Namaste. Vinyasa flow, friends. I will miss you so much tomorrow, but I know it'll be even richer next week when we're all together. If anybody has any questions, I'm happy to stick around for a few minutes. Otherwise, have a great week, and I'll see you soon. Hi, Tammy. I thought that might be you.
Good. I love the fluidity and the playfulness. It's exactly what I need right now. So, thank you.
My pleasure. Good to see you. Bye, Amisha. Bye, Octavia. Hey, Jessie. So glad you could come.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Thanks for coming. Hey, Mom. I'm so glad you could come.
Well, it's a chance to see you. Live and in person.
Yay. Hang on. I'm going to just end the recording because I